Thank you so much for clicking part 2 of this tutorial. If you haven't watched part 1 of this tutorial, check the link in the description box. So for this tutorial over here, we're going to make the bottom part, and we're going to start with the front part. And this motif over here, this center point, is going to be in the middle point. And you're going to measure how much coverage you want for your front part of your pant. And so I'm going to attach my yarn into this middle point over here, and I'm going to use single crochet to do that. So I'm going to single crochet in the next stitch and tighten this. And then I'm going to chain 2, and now this acts as my first double crochet, and then I'm going to double crochet in the next loop 3 times. So basically this row is just plainly double crochet. So I'm in this chain 3 loop, and I'm going to make 3 double crochets there, but you can adjust to your liking. And then over this single crochet over here, I'm going to make a single crochet. In the chain 3 space, I'm going to make 3 double crochets. And then in this single crochet over here, I'm going to make a single crochet. So repeat this going towards this other side, making single crochet until you have a good coverage for your front part. So I'm going to stop at this corner over here. So the middle, I have started my double crochet inside this middle point, and I'm going to end it at this middle point so that my work can be balanced. So I'm at the end of this row. To start on the next row, you're going to chain 2. This acts as your first double crochet, and then turn your work around. At this point, we're going to start decreasing. So yarn over, go into the next stitch, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops, yarn over, go into the next stitch, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Once you have 3 loops together, yarn over and pull those 3 loops together, and at this point you have reduced a stitch. Then you're going to double crochet in each and every stitch going towards the other end. At the end of the row and 2 stitches left, we are going to reduce these 2 double crochets. So yarn over, go into that next stitch and pull through, yarn over, go into the final double crochet, yarn over, pull through. Once you have 3 loops, yarn over and pull through all those loops together, and now you have reduced a stitch at the end of the row and at the beginning of the row. So the next row is a repeat of this row. So you're going to chain 2, turn your work around. The chain 2 acts as your first stitch, and then you're going to yarn over and go into the next stitch, which is here, pull through, go into the next stitch, yarn over, pull through. Once you have 3 stitches, yarn over and pull those 3 stitches together, and then you're going to make double crochet in each and every stitch going towards the other side, and then when you get to the end, it's going to be a reduction as well. So I'm at the end of the row and 2 stitches left, this one over here, and this last one over here. So you're going to reduce those two, yarn over and into the last stitch, pull through, and then yarn over, pull through. So for the next number of rows, you're going to repeat this row over here, reducing at the beginning of the row and at the end of the row. So go ahead and reduce that until you are left with a number of stitches that is going to cover your crotch area. And I'll leave approximately 16 stitches, this one over here, for my crotch area. So I'm going to meet you at that point. So it's time to work on the crotch area. I have my 16 stitches, and I know it looks kind of small when you look at it in this video. So just work with your actual measurements. For me, this part is 4 inches wide, and my yarn is super stretchy on both sides. So if you're working with a different yarn, kindly just use your measurements. So the next thing we're going to do is to work on the crotch area, and it's super simple. So after chaining 2, we are not going to decrease at the starting of the row. You're just going to make double crochet in each and every stitch until the end of the row. I'm at the end of the row, and do not decrease, just make double crochet in each and every stitch until you complete the row. For the next row, it's a repeat of this previous row. You're going to chain 2, turn your work around, and then make double crochet in each and every stitch until you complete the row. And you're going to repeat this until you get to the middle point, like the middle down part. And then we're going to start working on the back area, which is going to be pretty much the same thing, just that the back you're going to give it a generous cover. So at the end of the row, you're going to make double crochet in each and every stitch. So now go ahead and make a number of rows without decreasing. Let me show you by what I mean the middle point. So the back is going to come, you're going to make the back from this point to this point going towards this. So the place where this front part and the back part is going to meet is going to be your middle point. So once you have your middle point, you're going to chain 1 and cut off the yarn, and you should be having something like this. Now it's time to make the back part, which is pretty much the same thing. And the back part coverage depends on how much coverage you need. So I'm going to cover my back using these 3 motifs from this corner to this corner over here. So if you need like a thong, you can actually use this point to this point. So it all depends with the coverage you are comfortable with. So the next one important thing you should note is this opening that you're going to leave over here. Make sure it's exactly the same thing on this other side. So be mindful of that so that you don't end up with a pant that is not well shaped. So the next thing is I'm going to attach my yarn onto this other end, and I'm going to use the single crochet technique I showed you while making the front part. So after making that single crochet, chain 2 and then make double crochets in these chain spaces, exactly what we did on the front part. So it's basically a row of double crochet until you get to the other side of your pants. Done with my first row of double crochet, and this is how it looks like. At this point you can see that your work is wavy, but when you do a few more rows it's going to even out, so don't be worried by that. So for the next row you're going to chain 2, turn your work around, make a reduction at the at the start of the row, and then make double crochet in each and every stitch, and then at the end of the row you are also going to make a reduction. Almost at the end of the row, and at this point I have felt that I need to reduce my work moderately fast, if that makes sense. Like I want to achieve a decent coverage yet cheeky coverage, decent and cheeky at the same time, and this is what I'm going to do. Instead of reducing one at the end of the row, I'm going to reduce 2 stitches. So I'm going to yarn over, and I have 3 stitches left. I'm going to reduce this 2, 1, 2, and then I'm going to leave this one hanging. So yarn over and pull through, yarn over, go into the next stitch, pull through, and then yarn over and pull through 3 loops together. And at this point I left this one hanging, and at the same time it's reduced. So what this means is I have reduced, I have lost 3 stitches per row. So to begin on the next row, I'm going to chain 2, turn your work around, and then at the start of the row you're just going to reduce it normally, yarn over and reduce the next 2 stitches, yarn over and reduce these 2 stitches, and then make double crochet in each and every stitch. And then at the end of the row I have 3 stitches left. This is 1, this is 2. You can see there are 2, 1, 2, but remember we reduced it at the start of the row, so they are attached together, so it's 1 stitch. So once you have 3 stitches, which is this, this and this, we are going to reduce this stitch and this stitch, and then we're going to leave this one hanging. So yarn over and make a reduction in those 2 stitches like that, and leave this one hanging. So what it means is you have reduced 2 stitches at the end of the row, and you reduced 1 stitch at the start of the row, so per row you're going to lose 3 stitches. So continue repeating this until you get 16 stitches, and then you're going to maintain your work, and then after that I'm going to meet you at that point and show you what to do. But if you don't feel like reducing the way I am, just use the technique we used on the front part, reducing at the start of the row and at the end of the row, which means that you're only losing 2 stitches. So it all depends with your preference and the type of coverage you want to achieve. I have made the back part, And once you're done, you're going to chain 1 and cut off your yarn. Make sure you leave a long tail because we're going to use this tail to weave the 2 sides together. After this, now turn your work into the wrong side. And then you're going to use a darning needle to weave in these 2 sides. Insert your yarn inside the needle and then go into the first stitch. Pull through. So you're going to insert your hook in one side and pass it through the other side of your pant and tighten it. Exactly what I'm doing in the video, just watch keenly. And then to complete, take that yarn and flap it over the needle and tighten it. As you can see, it's very seamless. You can't even tell if we sew the 2 sides together. Now turn your work onto the other side, the right side. And now it's time to do the binding. As you can see, my yarn is curving. It's because of the stretchy factor. So it's super stretchy, that's why you can see the curves on the side. But now we're going to do the binding on this leg opening over here, and I'm going to start at this point, this corner. So go ahead and attach your yarn using this single crochet technique, and then chain 5, 1 2 6 2 3 4 5 6. The first 2 acts as your double crochet, and then the extra 4 stitches acts as chain 4 space, and then you're going to yarn over and make a double crochet in the next opening, chain 4, yarn over, make a double crochet in the next opening, chain 4, double crochet in the next chain space, 4, chain 4, and double crochet in the next chain space. Repeat that. I'm going to meet you at this corner over here. When you get to this part over here, you're still going to chain 4, and then you're going to skip 1 row of double crochet, and then in the next row you're going to make the double crochet. So in every 2 rows of double crochet you should be having this double crochet, chain 4 space. So chain 4, skip the next row of double crochet, and in the next row you're going to make your double crochet. 1 2 3 4, skip this row, and in the next row make a double crochet. So repeat this all around this opening. Even in the crotch area you're going to do the same thing. I'm going to meet you at this corner over here. To complete the row, chain 4, and then slip stitch into the second stitch to complete the row. So for the next row you're going to make single crochet 5 times in those chain 4 spaces. 1 2 3 4, actually it's 4, and then on the double crochet part you're also going to make 1. So basically there are 5, but the 5th one is going to be on this, aligned to this double crochet. So inside the chain 4 space, make 4 single crochet, 3, 4, and then also don't forget to make single crochet inside this double crochet space. So repeat this all around until you complete the row. At the end of the row, you're going to slip stitch into the first stitch to close the row, and then chain 1 and cut off your yarn. And also repeat the same thing you've done onto this other side, on this other side of your pants. And then the final step is to weave in your ends. So the panty is completely done, and this is how it looks like. Thank you so much for watching until the end. Before you log out, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I can't wait to meet you in my next video. Until next time, goodbye.